The time is exactly 18 after 9 o'clock. Welcome back. This is News and Views with me, Julie Ali. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And we're now going to be speaking with Penuel Maduna. He is with the African ANC Youth League. I understand that my colleagues caught up with him during the boycott Miss Universe picket in Rivonia. He had just returned from Palestine and undoubtedly has a lot to share with us this morning. Penuel, good morning. Welcome to the program. So nice to be talking to you.
Good morning, and good morning to you and your viewers, and thanks for hosting me.
You have very strong views about the issue around Lalela attending the Miss Universe pageant in Israel, and you've just returned from Palestine. Tell us what you were doing there. What did you see? What have you found? And what is your very strong message to youth back home here in South Africa?
Okay, I think we went there for a study visit of the International Union of Socialist Youth, but also to pledge our solidarity as young people from different parts of the world with the people of Palestine, to say their struggle and ours can never be separated. And we went to a number of refugee camps in Palestine. We at Beta refugee camp, went to Balaka refugee camp, went to Hebron refugee camp, Ida refugee camp. And the life that is being lived by people then is not a life that you will imagine, that there are still people who are living under those circumstances. Palestinians are subjected to what the Israel government calls checkpoint. In every 30 minutes, as a Palestinian, you have to pass a checkpoint and to present your ID, you explain where you are going whatsoever. And there are places where, inside Palestine, there are places where Palestinians are not allowed to move. Only settlers from different parts of the country, of the world, are taken to stay in Palestine. So I want to say that the life that we saw that is being lived by people there, even Ms. Lalela Mswane will never want to participate in a pageant on a country that treats people like that, because one of the leaders of the Fatah Youth movement that was hosting us, showing us around, was almost shot with an M16 for merely walking in the street where Palestinians are not allowed to walk in that street. And young people as young as 15 years, young people as young as 12 years, they are shot daily by police. Young people, they are arrested daily by police. They have what they call administrative arrest. So the police can just come into your house, they arrest you, and without any charges, and they can keep you as long as they want. And we also met with the Prime Minister of Palestine, and he told us that even the President of Palestine, even the Prime Minister of Palestine, cannot just move freely. He can be returned at any checkpoint if the soldiers feel that he is not allowed to move. And we also want to say to the government of Ethiopia that we are aware of what their citizens are doing. So the Israel government is taking people from Ethiopia, giving them citizenship, giving them guns, and giving them military uniform, so that they continue to kill Palestinians, so that they continue to harass Palestinians in their own country.
How did this make you feel, Penuel, knowing our history as South Africans, our history under apartheid? You're pretty young still, so I'm not quite sure, if you felt the full wrath of apartheid, but undoubtedly your parents and grandparents were victims of the apartheid regime. When you make a comparison and when you're exposed to all of that in Palestine, what was going on in your mind?
Africans have a very long history of apartheid, a very long history of resistance. So what I saw in Israel is definitely apartheid, what the Israel government is doing. And they want to parade this thing of theirs as a religious place. They say Israel is their holy place. 1600 BC, their ancestors used to live there, their ancestors used to pray there. There's no religion that says kill people. There's no religion that says arrest people without any reason. There's no reason that says come into people's houses, demolish their houses, and put settlers in their community, in their community. So I definitely feel the life that is lived by people there is apartheid. And my heart was very heavy when I was there, when I saw young people as young as 15 years explaining the problems that they are facing, explaining that sometimes they even struggle to go to school. If soldiers feel like they must not go to school, they can be turned back at any checkpoint. Israel, people from Palestine are not even allowed to travel international because the airport that they need to use is in Israel, it's in Tel Aviv. But Israel people, they are allowed to move around in between Palestine and in between Israel. But Israel people cannot even go to the airport in Tel Aviv. Israel people cannot even get a passport. The only way that they have to move is through Jordan. And even that border in Jordan is controlled by the Israel government. So those people, they are being closed into a small space so that they can't even get international support. At the airport, when you pass the airport, the Israel government is very clear that none of us is allowed to enter the Palestinian territory. We have to smuggle ourselves to Palestine.
Penuel, are you there?
Yes, I'm
Hello?
here.
Okay. As you speak, I just have visions, flashing in front of my eyes of innocent children. And I say children, 10, 12, 8-year-old children being murdered ruthlessly by the occupiers. And you are right, no religion in the world condones or talks about murdering innocent children. No humanitarian organization in the world, would allow something like that to happen. How is this going to change your narrative to the ANC Youth League, and how you're going to continue supporting the Palestinian people? And also, this is a very important story to share with the young people of South Africa. How are you going to disseminate all of this information to them?
I think as people of South Africa, we have for a very long time supported the people of Palestine, and they truly appreciate that the support that we're giving them as South Africans. There's even a statue of former President Nelson Mandela there in Palestine, and he's quoted saying, "We know very well the freedom of the people can never be separated. South Africa will never be free until Palestine is free," end quote. So I'm saying, since I'm from Palestine, since I've seen how they live, we're going to do more as the ANC Youth League to support the struggle of the people of Palestine, and we're going to hold a number of programs to give a narrative to young South Africans of the life that is being lived by people of Palestine. We're going to join in many organizations for Palestine, such as BDSSA, to make sure that we boycott brands that continue to support apartheid Israel. Puma is sponsoring the Israel football club, while Palestinians, they're not allowed to even play sports. So I think that we're calling on Puma to withdraw support for the Israel football club. But if it continues to do so, young people are the biggest supporters of Puma. So we'll mobilize young people and we'll boycott that brand.
Any other this is actually I sometimes am at a loss of words when I hear about the Israeli occupiers and the atrocities, the genocide being meted out onto the innocent Palestinian people. As a young Black South African, what do you see? What do you believe is the solution as far as the apartheid Israeli state is concerned? What do you think? How do people move forward and resolve this issue if there is any resolution in sight?
I think the resolution is there from the Oslo Accords and the number of negotiations that the Israel government and the Palestinian government have. We support the two-state solution. Israel must control its own territory, and Palestine must be allowed to control its territory. And I think it's very important to highlight the fact that not all Israel citizens support the Israel apartheid. we met with a number of leaders from Israel, from the Labour Party and from the Young Meretz, and they made it very clear that they support the two-state solution and they don't support what their government is doing to the people of Palestine. So we're saying that even United States of America continues to go there in Israel and Palestine to create an impression that they want to resolve the crisis. Oh, but they do so having one side that they're supporting. They support Israel, they support the crimes of Benjamin Netanyahu, who killed a number of people there. And the USA government does not see anything wrong with that thing. So I think that a number of countries, different diplomats from different countries, must form part of the negotiation process and not leave it to the monopoly of United States of America.
Penuel, in closing, I want two questions. Would you agree that Israel is an apartheid state? I need to hear your answer loudly and clearly, number one. And number two, if Lalela does go to Israel, what do you believe her status will be when she comes back to South Africa?
Yes, first, I believe that Israel is an apartheid state. What I saw in Israel as far as naming Israel an apartheid state. But number two, Lalela Mswane going there to Israel, they make sure that they take her to all the fancy places. They show her the good side about Israel. You know, these people, they always gave as victims. They claim that 100 years ago, Palestinians came and killed their great-grandparents when they were praying. So if she does go there, when she comes back, she'll come back with a different narrative. She'll come back believing that Palestinians are occupying Israel and believing all the bad things. And which we know is not possible. Israel, they have bombs, they have nuclear bombs, they have big guns, they have big financial muscle. So it's impossible for a state like Palestine to occupy a state like Israel.
Penuel, I know you're still pretty young, and when you came back from South Africa, did you go to your parents and your grandparents or the elders in the family and the community just to kind of say to them and embrace them and say, I understand now what you experienced during the dark, horrible, filthy days of apartheid, because your visit to Palestine has truly opened your eyes, has it not?
Yes, yes. I did go to a number of them, and actually they were panicking about a visit to Palestine because it's not safe that side. But I saw that live that South Africans in 1994 were subjected to the life that people of the occupied state of Palestine are subjected to today.
We truly appreciate what our forefathers have been through under apartheid when we see what's happening in Israel. I've just had a message from someone saying, nice interview. I remember this guy from his days in COSAS wearing school uniform during the protests. He's still young, but very fiery indeed. I wish this interview was on video. I wish so too. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it on video. But next time, Penuel, thank you indeed for talking to us. Please keep that flag held as high as you possibly can. And let's bring issues of apartheid and Black Lives Matter. These issues, these stories need to be told, and we need to get that narrative across that Black lives do matter.
Yes, and thank you very much for hosting me.
Lovely talking to you. Go well, and goodbye.
Thank you.
That was Penuel Maduna. He is obviously with the African National Congress, the Youth League. He's just back from a visit to the occupied territories, and those were his views on this dark and horrific apartheid state and apartheid issues being played out on the Palestinian people. 9:33 exactly. When we come back, we'll be talking with Aisha Kaji about the Sudan situation, and we will wrap up on a lighter note, inshallah, with sporting matters with Ashraf Garda. Do stay with us.
These days, I'm